If you look at the conversion sheet that you have, right, like I said before, we've got metric at the top, imperial in the middle, and then between metric and imperial at the bottom. Okay, so those ones we were practicing were just imperial to imperial. Now it doesn't really matter which one it is, for like, because we do it the same way every single time, right? But it is good to think about what type of unit goes with what. And one thing to notice about metric is every single one of them is, for length, let's say, is to meters. So notice how they all convert to meters. And for mass, they all convert to grams. And for volume, they all convert to liters. So we have that base unit, and that's how metric always works, right? And so everything is in relation to that base unit. So today, I think all the questions are going to have like meters in it. But if I wanted to go from kilometers to centimeters, we don't have a direct conversion for that. So we're going to do some of that tomorrow where you have to do it twice. Okay, but it's just something to think about and notice. And then the prefixes are there in case you're wondering if it's decimeters or decameters, okay? Because that's obviously important too. So let's take a look at an example. 7,492 centimeters to meters. So I want you to try to set it up, and I want you to think about, is the number going to get bigger or smaller? More meters, fewer meters, how does that work? Set it up the same way. Somebody tell me how I would set this one up. Jake, do you think you can do that for us? Okay. Meters, centimeters? Right. Okay, that's okay. That's the first. This is a good start. Summer, finish it off. Okay, so take a look. We have meters on top and centimeters on bottom in both cases. So Jake got us started right. How many meters is 7,492 centimeters if 1 meter is 100 centimeters? Okay, and then how do we end up doing this one? We're going to multiply by 7,492 on both sides. 7,492 divided by 100. 74.92. Nice. So notice how the decimal place just moved. That's good to know. Again, this is like, if you could, let's say you're good at this, and you know that all you had to do was divide by 100. All you had to do was move the decimal 2 places. Good shortcut, but if you're ever stuck, proportions will figure it out for you whether you multiply or divide. If you have the conversion factor, that's typically what you're doing. You're either multiplying or you're dividing. And you probably know a lot of the metric conversions. A lot of you probably didn't need to look it up. You know that there's 100 centimeters in a meter. So that's nice. In that case, you could set this up on your own. All right, let's try another one. So again, notice it's always got meters in it. If it had millimeters to centimeters or to kilometers or something like that, we'd have to do it in 2 steps. Thomas, can you get this one started for us? Good. So what are the units of the x? And 15 is the meters. And so then still millimeters on top, 1,000 millimeters in 1 meter. Awesome. Multiply both by 15, and I get x equals, Adam? 15,000 millimeters. Great. Any questions about that? It's pretty straightforward. We're going to skip these two questions for now, but notice if it's grams or liters, it's the same thing. It's not any different. I mean, you're still just looking at the conversion factor, but very similar to whether it was meters. It would be the same thing. Okay, let's do a couple more down here. 6 feet to meters. What's happening in this question? Yeah, it's switching from metric to imperial. And again, today we're just doing one step. These are simple ones, but it will get trickier. Usually when you're converting between metric and imperial, you're going to have a couple of steps because we only have a few of the sort of key units that we know the values of on our sheet, I mean, that can flip back and forth, right? Meters to feet, kilometers to miles, meters to yards, we only have those 3. So if you're doing anything with centimeters or millimeters or anything like that, you would have to do it in 2 steps. Okay, so let's do this one quickly. How many meters is 6 feet? Oh, and the other thing is, you're going to get a lot of decimals in this case. So how many meters is 6 feet? So I go down to the metric and imperial at the bottom of the page. And I find meters to feet. So I got meters on top. So if it's 0.3048 meters is 1 foot. Multiply by 6. Multiply by 6. And this one, I'm going to write the exact value, but 1.8288. Any questions about any of that? Yeah. Just wait. Not the kind of question that I meant. Okay, so I don't think we need to do all the rest of these, but notice that these examples are all between metric and imperial. And I believe question 5 on that worksheet is like that. So you can do a couple from question 3, a couple from question 4. Try to do a few of each, maybe 3 from each. They're all pretty similar. They don't get harder or anything. But you can see how this system works pretty well. It's pretty straightforward, pretty easy. Okay, and a couple from question 5, and then you can check your answers. I'll put them up afterwards as well.